Chapter 83 Dim's Might. Around the Fendu martial arts arena, hundreds of thousands of people gathered around to watch, and the lively and noisy shouts were astonishing and endless. One by one, the 7 warriors of the Great Tang appeared on the martial arts arena, drawing excitement from everyone. A peak youth duel was coming. The crowd couldn't help but feel hot-blooded. 7 powerful auras shot straight up into the sky. The chi rushed into the sky, turning the world upside down and turning the stars around. The entire martial arts arena was enveloped by a storm of chi. Everywhere there were scenes of energy raging, and the surrounding space was in chaos. Thunderbolt Maniac Thundercloud, occupying the center, proudly looked down on the crowd. His head was covered in lightning and thunder. His aura was majestic. It was said that he was the son of the Zhenin king of the Great Tang dynasty, and it was rumored that on the occasion of his emergence, there was a 9 heavens divine thunder jar, and the entire Zhenin king's residence was shrouded in a sea of thunder. Some seniors said that he was the reincarnation of the god of thunder. I don't know if that's true. However, he did possess the physique of thunder, cultivating lightning techniques by leaps and bounds in a single day, and was recognized as one of the strongest amongst the 7 heroes of the Great Tang dynasty. Beside Lei Yun, swordsman Deng Yijian and swordsman Deng Yijiang were the 2 brothers stifling the 2 sides. Their 2 brothers joining hands to defend the enemy. Their swords and knives were in sync with each other, which made people not dare to underestimate them. Perhaps, in terms of strength, the swordsman is the weakest of the 7 warriors of the Great Tang dynasty. But their 2 brothers' hearts and minds are interlinked. Their swords and knives work together, and their combined strength is something that even Lei Yun wouldn't dare to underestimate. In the sword double Jedi opposite, a green suit of Madman Shen Tu-Ji is very conspicuous. His myth whispering, "Do not know in self-talk somewhat, looks a little delirious." But that are unparalleled sword potential to the presence of all people do not dare to underestimate. No one knew the origin of the mad warrior Shen Tu-Ji. The crowd only knew that he had a split personality and was often delirious. But he was proficient in supreme swordsmanship and was the strongest person with a sword amongst the young generation of the Great Tang. All formidable foes are. Each one is not below Wu Gang. Kang Tion's expression was cold as he lamented in his heart. Worthy of being called the Great Tang 7 warriors, a man's name and a tree's shadow, these people really lived up to their name. Each one of them had astounding strength and were definitely the pinnacle of the youthful powerhouses in the Great Tang cultivation world. However, the stronger the opponent's strength, the more the wariness in Kang Tion's heart flourished. He carried the might of the aura of victory over Wu Gang. His unrivaled domineering aura swept across the entire space, causing everyone to be moved. Beside Kang Tion, Hua Huanyong in a white dress, like a fairy descending from the 9 heavens, exuding a faintly holy aura. Her aura is soft yet majestic, continuous and uninterrupted, as if a river flows, so that people dare not underestimate. Opposite to Flower Thinking Wrong, Confucian warrior Liu Sui-Feng gazed at her with an infatuated gaze, as if his entire mind was attracted to her, unable to extricate himself. 7 young peak powerhouses gathered at the Fendu fighting martial arts arena. 7 powerful auras collided with each other. The entire arena was filled with a strong smell of gunpowder. A peak showdown had become inevitable. Hundreds of thousands of cultivators outside the arena gradually quieted down. They no longer clamor and shout, but rather concentrate on looking forward to the peak of the showdown. For a time, the huge Fendu fighting martial arts stadium was silent. On the upper floor, the little girl Zhao gritted her teeth and glared at the sword and sword duo on the martial arts arena below. She recognized them as the 2 youthful powerhouses who had intercepted and killed her together with the black, clothed old man at the time, and suddenly couldn't help but be enraged and gritted her silver teeth and cursed, "Woe ah or ah, it's those 2 sons of bitches. Last time it was them, and that old son of a bitch bullying this young lady. The three old men quickly unlocked the seals to this young lady. This young lady is going to teach them a lesson. Seal. This young lady wants to teach them a lesson. Little girl, you won't take the opportunity to escape, right? The yellow-clothed old man sniffed and glanced at the little girl with a skeptical face. The little girl was instantly furious and glared. Is this young lady that kind of villain? Besides, this old man still owes me a shovel. This young miss won't leave Fengdu City for the time being. After saying that, she also pointed at the old blacksmith on the side. The old blacksmith immediately pulled his head together with a face full of shame. Wu Gang was defeated by Kang Chon. He lost to the little girl. This time the old face was lost. The blue-clothed old man next to him also looked embarrassed. The yellow-clothed old man then stopped and immediately unsealed the little girl. He would not let go if he dared to take a shot at the Zhao family's children. Of course, it was still up to the juniors to take care of the juniors' matters. You two sons of bitches, this young lady won't be surnamed Zhao if she doesn't beat you into a pig's head this time. As soon as the little girl's seal was lifted, she immediately became alive. She rose up into the sky, screaming and cursing as she rushed towards the martial arts arena. As a 4th level Jidan stage powerhouse and an 8th turn Silver Dan, the little girl's strength was incomparably powerful, and none of the 7 young powerhouses present could match her. As soon as she appeared, she immediately disrupted the 7 balanced auras in the martial arts arena. The crowd outside the arena was instantly shocked. Who was this girl? It would be so powerful. It seemed to be 1 level higher than the Great Tang 7. It was completely comparable to the God's Capital 4. It was just that they hadn't heard of when such a girl had appeared in the cultivation world. Heavens! It's this little devil again, looking at the little girl that fell from the sky. Kang Chon was speechless, and the flower thinking wrong on the side was also filled with black lines. A trace of shock flashed in the eyes of the opposite Lei Yun, but at this moment, the balance of qi in the field was broken, so he could not care about much, and swung his fist towards Kang Chon to kill him. Kang Chon was unafraid and swung his overlord fist to meet him. Although he had consumed quite a bit of true essence from fighting Wu Gang just now, he was still alive and well. His overbearing aura was unrivaled, and he was on par with Lei Yun. The two of them were the first to start a fight, and the remaining few people were no longer at ease and made their moves. Flower thinking wrong was worried that Kang Chon had consumed too much from his battle with Wu Gang, and was not a match for Lei Yun, so she prepared to rescue him. However, Liu Suifeng, who had been paying attention to her, was 1 step ahead of her and blocked her way. Yu Huoxiangrong instantly glared angrily at Liu Suifeng. Liu Suifeng smiled gently and said, "Fairy, why bother meddling in other people's fights? Why don't you and I renew our love affair?" With a dashing pace, he operated his Dao magic, blocking Huoxiangrong's path. Flower thinking wrong was helpless, and in her anger, petals flew around her body, forming a gorgeous wreath of flowers. Each petal exuded an invisible killing aura, which one did not dare to underestimate. Both of them were dressed in white, as if they were a pair of golden girls, but at this moment there was an endless murderous aura emanating between the two of them, and there was no mercy between their hands. On the other side, when the two brothers, Teng Yijian and Teng Yichang, saw the little girl arrive, they were instantly shocked. They were well aware of how fierce this girl was. Even if the people present joined forces, they were not her opponent. 2 little brats, quickly say, "Where is that old bastard? Otherwise both of you won't be able to walk out of here today." The little girl droned incomparably arrogantly. Her powerful aura pressed everyone to retreat. Only the 2 brothers, Teng Yijian and Teng Yichang, were locked by her and were unable to dodge. They could only grit their teeth and resist. But the little girl's aura was too powerful. Teng Yijian and Teng Yichang, two brothers, gradually couldn't resist. Sweat dripped continuously on their faces, looking very strained. The crowd watching the battle outside the field was shocked. This suddenly came. The little girl was so powerful. Just with the momentum, will suppress the sword double G. I'm afraid that the Imperial capital 4G is just like that. Just at this moment, an old man in black suddenly rushed out from amongst the crowd. Little girl, stop. This black-clothed old man was the same peak Jeden stage and Flare powerhouse who had intercepted the little girl in the first place. And when he saw that the two brothers, the blade and sword twin Jedi, were in a crisis, he did not care about many things and blasted at the little girl with a palm. How dare he intervene in a young man's fight? This old man seeks death. The crowd was shocked and then cursed this old man for being shameless. In the great Tang cultivation world, there was an unwritten rule that the older generation of cultivation should not intervene in the young people's fights without permission. Otherwise they would be hunted down and killed by the entire great Tang cultivators. This rule was also to prevent someone from killing those geniuses before they grew up. Only then would the younger generation of the great Tang cultivation realm become stronger and stronger, and the great Tang cultivation realm become more and more prosperous. Old man, just in time. This young lady is waiting for you. When the little girl saw the black-clothed old man, she was not shocked, but rather delighted. He dropped his sword and double jinx, waved the coffin board, and greeted towards the black-clothed old man. The black coffin board immediately had a shocking demonic aura. A boundless demonic might enveloped the entire martial arts arena, and the heaven and earth became even dimmer. The crowd was instantly shocked. What kind of magic treasure was this? It would be so powerful. Could it be the legendary treasure weapon? HMPH. The black-clothed old man snorted coldly and blasted his palm towards that coffin board. Immediately the sky exploded as two huge forces collided, erupting into an unrivaled storm of terrifying energy. After a collision, the little girl and the old man in black were both sent flying out. The little girl looked towards the black-clothed old man in astonishment, her heart wondering, unable to figure out when this old guy had become so powerful that he could even resist the coffin board. Wasn't he beaten around by the coffin board last time? The old man in black seemed to have guessed the little girl's doubts and raised his palm, on which golden light flowed, but it was a layer of golden film. He laughed coldly. Little girl, this is an extreme spiritual weapon. Although it is not as good as your treasure weapon, it is enough to deal with you. The crowd was shocked at his words. This was actually an extreme grade spirit weapon glove. With the strength of the black-clothed old man at the peak of the 9th level of the Jeden stage, he could completely utilize the power of this spirit weapon. On the contrary, the little girl was unable to utilize the full power of the coffin board and naturally fell behind. HMPH, a mere spirit weapon dares to act recklessly. Let's see this young lady burst your balls. The little girl snorted coldly as she sniffed and raised the coffin board and smashed it over. A shocking demonic aura covered the sky. The boundless demonic might pressurize the crowd to the point that they couldn't breathe. The crowd looked dumbfounded. This girl's words were too fiery. How do you look at it is like a little hooligan. The black-clothed old man was furious. He operated his spells and fought with the little girl. The two of them were powerful, and the aftershocks of their battle caused 7 young powerhouses not far away to avoid retreating. While the two of them were caught in the middle of the battle, the sword and sword duo G also took on the mad warrior Shen to G. Sword 1, 2 against 1 isn't fair. Nope, you have a split personality. It's 4 against 2. Huh, righto. Then we are not taking advantage. Take advantage, then take advantage, Shen Taji muttered to himself. He slowly drew the long sword behind him, and immediately a matchless sword momentum swept in, and the entire sky was in turmoil. The blade and sword double Jedi didn't dare to underestimate the situation. The two of them similarly drew their blades and swords, and with a matchless momentum, they met them. A shocking battle erupted at once.